From historic firsts to hidden minting errors, some quarters can make collectors go wild. Today, we're uncovering the rarest and most collectible quarter dollars you need to know about. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just discover a treasure hiding in your own change. Before you spend your next quarter, take a closer look. Some of the most valuable coins in America look completely ordinary, until you notice the details. And today's first coin might surprise you. We're talking about the 1980 Washington quarter, a coin that's still out there in circulation, still being used every day, yet it holds an incredible secret of value hidden in its condition. The Washington quarter has been a part of American life since 1932. It was introduced to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Sculptor John Flanagan designed it, and his image of Washington has remained one of the most recognized portraits in U.S. coinage. On the front, Washington faces left with the word Liberty above and, In God We Trust, beside his neck. On the back, a detailed eagle sits proudly, wings spread, clutching arrows and olive branches, a strong symbol of the nation itself. By 1980, that design had been in use for almost half a century. But the material had changed. Gone were the silver quarters of the early 60s. Starting in 1965, quarters were made with a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel, what we now call clad coins. They look silver, but if you check the edge, you'll see the copper color shining through. The 1980 Washington quarter was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins from that time don't have a mint mark. Denver coins carry a small D, and San Francisco coins, mostly made for collectors, show an S. Hundreds of millions were produced that year, which means they're not rare by mintage. You could find one in your pocket change right now. But in coin collecting, rarity isn't just about how many were made, it's about how few survive in exceptional condition. Coins travel, scratch, and wear down over time. But once in a while, a coin escapes all of that. Maybe it was saved right after minting or stored carefully in a collection. It stays untouched, bright, clean, and flawless. That's where real value begins. Professional coin grading services use a 70-point scale to measure condition. A coin graded mint state means it has no wear at all. For a modern circulation coin like the 1980 quarter, anything above MS 66 is impressive. MS 67 is exceptional. But MS 68? That's almost unheard of. A single 1980 Washington quarter, struck for everyday use, was found in near-perfect mint state 68 condition. The surfaces were smooth and bright, the details on Washington's hair were sharp, and even under magnification, it showed almost no marks. Out of hundreds of millions produced, only a handful ever reached that level. It wasn't made of silver. It wasn't a proof coin. It wasn't even an error. It was valuable because it was almost perfect, an ordinary coin preserved in extraordinary condition. The 1980 quarter also marks an interesting point in American minting history. It represents the end of one era and the beginning of another. Just a few years later, in 1982, the mint made small changes in production that affected how coins were struck and how they aged. And less than 2 decades later, in 1999, the state quarters program would begin, completely transforming the look of the U.S. quarter. Some collectors also search for varieties or small mint errors from that year. A few 1980 quarters show light doubling on the lettering, minor die cracks, or slightly weak strikes. These aren't extremely rare, but they can still bring premium prices if they're well preserved. But the most valuable 1980 quarter isn't one with an error, it's the one that looks exactly the way it was meant to, only in flawless condition. Even newly minted coins can have tiny imperfections from contact with others in the same batch. Just one small nick can lower the grade. That's why coins graded MS 68 or higher are almost always kept in protective holders, sealed to preserve their perfect surfaces. For collectors, finding a coin like that is more than just luck. It's a reminder that sometimes perfection hides in the most ordinary places. Many people who collect coins today started by simply checking their pocket change. The thrill of discovery, that small chance of finding something valuable, is what keeps the hobby alive. If you're curious about your own 1980 quarters, check the mint mark above the R in quarter on the reverse. If it has a D, it's from Denver. If there's no mark, it's from Philadelphia. And if you see an S, it's from San Francisco, likely a proof coin. Proofs have mirror-like surfaces and sharper details, while circulation coins have a softer, matte finish. Next, look at the overall condition. Hold the coin under a good light. Are the details clear on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers? The sharper the design, the higher the potential grade. If you think you found something special, handle it carefully. Hold it by the edges and never clean it, even gentle cleaning can lower a coin's value. If it looks pristine, it may be worth having it professionally evaluated. While most 1980 quarters are worth face value, some exceptional ones sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. And then there's one extraordinary example, a 1980 Washington quarter in perfect mint state 68 condition, that reached an astonishing value of $82,000. Stories like this remind us that treasure isn't always hidden underground. Sometimes it's sitting quietly in your change, waiting to be noticed. The 1980 quarter may not have silver or gold, but its worth comes from something different, perfect minting and perfect preservation. Up next, we have another coin that proves even the most recent decades can still hold incredible surprises, the 1985 P Washington quarter. This coin doesn't look unusual at first glance, but it carries one of the most remarkable stories of condition and rarity from the 1980s. The letter P on this coin tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. By 1985, that mint was producing an enormous number of coins every year. The presses ran constantly to keep up with the demand for everyday change, and that non-stop production meant most coins came out with small imperfections, faint scratches, slightly soft strikes, or uneven surfaces. So, while the 1985 P quarter isn't rare by how many were made, it's extremely rare to find one that was struck sharply and preserved perfectly. That year was also known for slightly lower strike quality compared to other years. Dies often wore out faster due to heavy use, which left many coins with less defined details. For collectors who study mint quality, 1985 is considered one of the tougher modern years to find a clean, sharp quarter in true mint state. Most examples you'll see today show nicks, dull luster, or bag marks from years of circulation. Even coins that were set aside early often have small flaws from the minting process itself. That's why the few coins that somehow survived with untouched surfaces and deep, reflective luster have become standout pieces in modern collections. The 1985 P quarter also holds a subtle charm for collectors because of the way it looks under the right light. High-grade coins from that year tend to show a soft, satiny finish rather than the bright, flashy shine of other years. It's a texture that reveals how the minting equipment of that time aged and worked. Every small variation tells part of its story. For this issue, condition truly determines everything. Coins that grade in the mint state 65 range are already uncommon, and once you pass MS 66, the population drops dramatically. Coins in mint state 67 or better are almost impossible to locate because so few were struck that cleanly or kept in perfect condition. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1985 P is that no major errors or varieties define its rarity. There are no double dies or missing mint marks that make it special. Its value is all about precision and preservation. The best examples show razor-sharp detail on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, with smooth fields and no marks even under magnification. Finding a coin like that takes patience. Many collectors have searched through countless rolls of 1985 quarters without spotting one that even comes close. The combination of Philadelphia's heavy production and the year's generally weaker strikes means most coins simply never had the chance to be perfect. Over time, however, a few exceptional coins have surfaced, quarters that appear as if they were frozen in time, untouched by circulation. These coins carry an almost mirror-like brilliance that stands out immediately. When examined by grading professionals, their condition places them among the absolute finest examples of their year. It's the kind of find that reminds collectors why they keep looking. Even a coin made in the millions can become valuable if the right one survives in flawless form. And that's exactly what happened with a single 1985 P quarter that reached one of the highest known grades ever assigned for its type. That single coin showed the crispest strike seen for the year, with perfect luster and an undamaged surface, not a single visible imperfection. For experts, it represented what a 1985 Philadelphia quarter was meant to look like when struck with new dies under ideal conditions. It set a new benchmark for modern-era quality and became the kind of piece every serious collector dreams of finding. What's especially interesting about the 1985 P issue is how inconsistent the minting results were that year. Some coins appear slightly gray or flat, others show weak lettering or incomplete details. So when a fully struck coin appears with complete definition and no flaws, it stands apart immediately. That contrast between the typical and the exceptional makes it one of the most rewarding modern coins to hunt for. Today, collectors pay close attention to this date not because of errors or silver content, but because they know how few pristine survivors exist. Most were handled and spent within weeks of minting, leaving only a handful that ever stood a chance of remaining perfect. For anyone checking their own coins, here's what to look for. Focus on the sharpness of Washington's profile. The hairlines should appear full and distinct. The eagle's wings on the reverse should show clear feather separation, especially along the top edges. The fields should be smooth with even color and no spots or scratches. A coin that meets all of those conditions might just be something special. If you come across one that looks unusually clean, handle it carefully, only by the edges, and store it somewhere dry and safe. Never polish or wipe it. Even a tiny scratch can destroy the value instantly. If it truly looks untouched, professional grading might reveal that it's far better than it appears. While most 1985 P quarters are still worth only face value, high-end pieces with perfect surfaces can bring hundreds or thousands of dollars. And one extraordinary example, preserved in flawless mint state 68 condition, the best known of its kind, achieved a value of $70,000. It's proof that even a coin from the mid-1980s can still surprise everyone. A simple quarter, struck in Philadelphia for everyday use, became one of the most desirable modern coins ever found. Now let's explore one of the most unexpected modern finds, the 1997 D Washington quarter with a rare minting error that turned an everyday coin into something truly remarkable. The D mark tells us it was made at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest production sites in the country. By the late 1990s, coin production was at full speed. Machines were striking hundreds of coins per minute, and with that kind of pace, even the smallest mistake could slip through. Most were caught and recycled, but occasionally, one escaped, and that's where the story of this rare 1997 D quarter begins. For collectors, error coins are some of the most fascinating pieces to study. They give a real glimpse into what happens behind the scenes at the mint, the pressure, precision, and sometimes, imperfection. The 1997 D quarter error stands out because it wasn't an obvious mistake like a missing design or a doubled image. It was something more subtle, yet extremely rare, a misaligned die strike that left part of the design slightly off-center, with a visible rim distortion on one edge. At first glance, most people would overlook it. The coin still looked normal enough to spend. But under closer inspection, that off-center strike revealed that it was struck out of alignment by just the right amount, noticeable, but not so extreme that the main design was lost. That perfect balance is what collectors love, a clear, dramatic error that still shows the full design. What makes this type of 1997 D error special is that the Denver Mint was known for quality control during that period. Errors from the mid to late 1990s are far less common compared to earlier decades, especially those that were clean enough to make it into circulation. That's why this one created so much excitement when it was discovered. Most minting errors fall into a few categories: double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and die breaks. The 1997 D error quarter combines a few of these features in one coin. It shows an off-center alignment, a slightly expanded planchet rim, and traces of die fatigue, tiny cracks and raised lines that appear when the dies are near the end of their use cycle. Together, these characteristics make it one of the most eye-catching modern mint errors ever found on a Washington quarter. collectors often talk about how error coins tell their own story. Every flaw captures a moment in the production process, maybe a small misfeed of the blank planchet or a shift in the die position during striking. These moments happen in a fraction of a second, yet they can create coins that become one-of-a-kind pieces decades later. The 1997 D-era quarter is one of those moments frozen in metal. Because the mistake was subtle enough to pass through inspection, this coin entered circulation. It could have been spent, exchanged, or saved without anyone realizing how unique it was. Years later, when collectors began studying modern mint errors more closely, this particular quarter gained attention for its perfect balance of visibility and completeness. The preservation of the coin only adds to its value. It was found in outstanding condition, clean surfaces, strong luster, and no heavy marks that would distract from the error itself. That combination of rarity and state of preservation is exactly what makes error coins from this era so desirable. By the time it was professionally authenticated, experts confirmed that the misalignment was completely genuine, not the result of damage or tampering, and that the coin's condition was far better than almost any other known example. For modern US era coins, that kind of confirmation is essential because it proves the mistake happened during minting, not afterward. What makes the 1997 D error even more interesting is its timing. It came just 2 years before the launch of the State Quarters program, which began in 1999 and completely changed public interest in coin collecting. That shift made people pay closer attention to quarters again, and coins like this 1997 D error became early favorites for collectors who loved the idea of finding something special in their everyday change. Since then, this error has become one of the best-known modern Denver mint mistakes. It's the kind of coin that instantly stands out to anyone who understands minting precision: the slightly off-center rim, the faint distortion in the lettering, and the tiny yet clear separation between the outer border and design. Those features make it unmistakable once you know what to look for. For collectors or hobbyists hoping to find something similar, here's what to check. Look carefully at the border around the coin. If it seems thicker or thinner on one side, or if part of the lettering or date looks shifted, that's a sign of an off-center strike. The key detail is balance. The design should still be mostly visible, but obviously misaligned. If you spot something like that, handle it gently. Many error coins lose value when scratched or cleaned. Use gloves if possible, hold the coin only by its edges, and store it safely in a protective holder. Once preserved, it can be evaluated by a grading and authentication service that specializes in mint errors. Most 1997 D quarters are common and spendable, but true mint errors, especially those that are clear and well preserved, can be worth serious money. And one extraordinary 1997 D quarter with this rare off-center strike and near-perfect surfaces was valued at an incredible $54,000. So as you check your change, remember, not every coin story is about design or metal. Sometimes, the most valuable ones come from a single moment of imperfection. In the last segment of today's video, we have a truly historic coin, the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter. This isn't just another coin, it's the first U.S. coin to feature a black woman, celebrating a life of courage, art, and inspiration. Holding it is like holding a piece of history in your hand, a small reminder of the power of words and perseverance. In 2022, the U.S. Mint launched the American Women Quarters Program, a 4-year initiative to honor women who made a lasting impact on the nation. Each year, 5 remarkable women would be celebrated on the quarter, and Maya Angelou was chosen as the very first. For decades, U.S. coins primarily featured presidents, founding fathers, or iconic national symbols. This quarter broke the tradition, honoring the legacy of a poet, activist, and cultural icon whose words inspired millions. Maya Angelou was born Marguerite Annie Johnson in St. Louis, Missouri, in 1928. Her early life was full of challenges, yet she turned every hardship into a source of strength. She became a leading figure in the civil rights movement, working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Her literary work, including the groundbreaking autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, gave a powerful voice to the Black experience in America. Beyond writing, she touched the world with her poetry, her films, and her unforgettable performance of On the Pulse of Morning at President Bill Clinton's inauguration in 1993. She was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2010. Maya Angelou didn't just witness history, she made it, and she continues to inspire generations long after her passing. The reverse side of the quarter, designed by Emily Damstra and sculpted by Craig Campbell, captures Maya Angelou's spirit perfectly. It shows her standing with her arms uplifted, symbolizing freedom and self-expression. Behind her, a bird in flight and sun rays echo the imagery from her famous poem, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Every detail, from the movement of her dress to the radiance of the sun, was created to convey hope, resilience, and the beauty of a life lived boldly. The obverse side features George Washington, but with a new portrait by Laura Garden Fraser. Interestingly, Fraser's design was originally proposed in 1931 but was not used until now, making this coin a celebration not only of Angelou but also of a pioneering female artist finally receiving recognition. Both sides of the coin tell stories of trailblazing women whose work transcended barriers, reminding us that art and history are deeply intertwined. The Maya Angelou quarter was minted at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver coins are regular circulation strikes, while the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins with mirror-like finishes for collectors. It measures 24.26 mm in diameter, weighs 5.67 grams, and is composed of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a reeded edge. Collectors especially look for coins in pristine condition, with sharp details and perfect luster. Some may also have rare errors, like double strikes or unusual mint marks, which can make them even more desirable. Because of its condition, rarity, and potential minting errors, this coin could be valuable. Always check carefully before buying or selling, and never underestimate the significance of a coin that carries both history and artistry. When it was released, the Maya Angelou quarter made headlines nationwide. For many, especially young girls and people of color, it was inspiring to see a black woman honored in such a visible way. Social media buzzed with excitement as people shared pictures of finding the coin in circulation. Teachers and historians used it as a tool to spark conversations about civil rights, literature, and the power of voice. Holding this coin is a reminder that history is not just in books or museums, it can live right in your pocket. It also reminds us that every small gesture, every piece of art, and every act of courage can ripple through time, touching lives we may never know. Collectors love the Maya Angelou quarter for several reasons. It is historically significant as the first U.S. coin to feature a black woman. It is artistically beautiful, with meaningful symbolism in every detail. Limited proof versions, coins in perfect condition, and potential errors make it especially sought after. Next time you find one in your change, take a moment. Look at the bird, the sun, the uplifted arms. Remember the woman who inspired millions, and imagine the history you're holding in your hand. The 2022 Maya Angelou quarter isn't just another coin. It's a celebration of courage, creativity, and change. A coin that reminds us that history is alive, art is powerful, and a single voice, even a single coin, can carry a legacy that lasts forever. And with that, we wrap up today's journey through some of America's most iconic quarters. Every coin has a story. Which one will you hold on to next? Maybe it's the one you're holding right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through some of America's most iconic quarters. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and comment. I'd love to hear which coin is your favorite. Your support means the world and helps me bring more amazing coin stories to life. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Every view, every comment, and every share helps keep our coin collecting community growing. And remember, every coin has a story. Maybe the next one you find will be your own little piece of history. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.